Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so I would like to introduce Daphne Douglas, who will sing "O Canada."
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us common. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Oh,
Thank you very much, Daphne. That was beautiful. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the oaths of office were administered in person by the Honorable Judge Dory at the Municipal Hall parking lot at 5:30 p.m. today. The video of the oaths being administered will be posted on the website. The village lawyers provided the following advice. Although there are some fairly convincing arguments that a municipal councillor's oath or solemn affirmation of office may be given remotely, we can't be confident that section 120(4) of the community charter would be interpreted as allowing anything other than an in-person oath or affirmation. By in-person, we mean the council member and the person before whom the oath or affirmation is made are physically present in the same place at the same time. Given the consequences of non-compliance is disqualification, the prudent approach would be to have the oath or affirmation of office made in person.
Thank you. So I wish to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples. Tumtumewaitin, or Balcarra, is home to an ancestral village of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. We are thankful to conduct our work within their territory. It's my privilege to call to order the meeting and to invite Jennifer Swanson to deliver the invocation prayer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Let us pray. Holy One, known by many names and beyond all names, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, Spirit of justice, we ask for your guidance, for your wisdom, and for your blessings on the people who have been called to lead the community in which we live and work and play. Help this new council tonight and in the coming months to engage in meaningful discussion, to grow closer as a group, and to nurture the bonds of community. Fill them with grace, with patience, with courage, and with humility, as decisions are made that will affect the citizens of Balcarra and those that work and visit here. Remind them that they are not only entrusted to be leaders, but are also called to be servants, responsible for the common good, and that all they accomplish, all they risk, all they struggle with, and all they succeed in is in the name of service to this community. With gratitude for these people who are willing to make a difference, we ask your blessing upon each one of them, loving God, and we pray all of these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Jennifer Swanson. I appreciate your prayer, and specifically, I appreciate the wonderful things that you've said about our community and about our council and our obligation to lead in a responsible way. Thank you very much. We will take your words to heart. Thank you on behalf of council and our village. And then it's my pleasure to invite Elder Carleen Thomas to give the Tsleil-Waututh Nation blessing of council. Thank you.
O siam ni siaya ay tanishkwalawan. Kritsi kritsnala ihui anta an sakhalot. Antamana santalia I slahot. I'm sorry. My father has just passed away in November, and part of my introduction is to name my parents. And I forgot how to say his name now that he's passed. So let me try again. O CM ni siaya ay tanishkwalawin. Kwitsi kwitsnala ihui anta ansachalot. Anta mana santalia I siak mak slahot CM. Anta imeth kwethan sachalot kweth slahot CM. I kweth squestemostoch. I kweth halat. Hai tsapka emi tsap kwitwilam I tam tameochten I slawatash tamach.
Thank,
Okay. So do I need to start again, or did you hear my opening?
I'm sorry, I think we missed it at the ending.
Okay, so what I said to you in the very little bit of tiny bit of language I know called Hunkamitnam or Downriver Halkamalam, I said, my respected friends, the feelings I have inside, or I feel really good to see you and to be with you here today. And in Coast Salish way, I introduced myself to you with my ancestral name. I carry the name Ansachalot. And in our Coast Salish way, I also shared a little bit of my family tree with you. We do that for many reasons, but the most important is that it informs you, the audience, that I know who I am. I know where I come from. And as a Welmuchta, as a grandmother, I carry that responsibility much more dearly these days. So my parents are the late hereditary chief, Ernie George, and my mom's name is Deanna George. My paternal grandparents are the late hereditary chief, John L. George, and the late Lillian, or Dolly George, as she was known to her friends. And more recently, and by more recently, I mean for the last 10 years or so, I've been acknowledging my maternal grandparents, and it really bothered me to wonder why I hadn't acknowledged them in my introduction to my audiences. And I came to the conclusion that, you know, we've been at the beginning of colonization, Indians were put onto reserves and a line was drawn around us. And it said that you're Tsleil-Waututh, you're Squamish, you're Musqueam. And it set us against each other in competition for resources, in competition for a relationship with any level of government. And even to a point where it probably set brother against sister. So leading up to the 2010 Olympics, the three nations here, Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh, did a lot of work in reconciling our relationship with each other. So it's with great pride that I acknowledge my maternal grandparents as Stan Joseph from the Squamish Nation and Caroline Nee Thomas Nee Trimble from Snuneymuxw or Nanaimo, and the Nisga'a people, the Kincolith people. Then I raised my hands, and in Coast Salish way, you know that this is a gesture of welcome. It's also, after I heard the beautiful song and the prayer, it's also a gesture of thank you. I've heard you. Osiam, it means you. I've heard your words and they've touched my heart. So, hi, Tsepka, thanking all of you. Amit Tsepwitwilam, and I'm welcoming you here to Tamtamerchten, to the homelands and waters of the Tsleil-Waututh people. I was asked to give a blessing, and I feel kind of, well, I'll just do it after following the beautiful words of the Reverend, but so many, we pray in much the same way. Creator, grandmothers and grandfathers, we give thanks for this day. We give thanks for this circle gathered here this evening and ask you to bless us with open hearts and open minds as we carry on with the work placed before us. We hold up to you those in our circles that are suffering from COVID-19, especially for those in my community, my relatives, who have been tested positive and now are just giving them, ask for strength and courage and a speedy healing, a healthy healing for these souls and for the loved ones that are taking care of them. We hold up to you those in our circles that are afflicted with addiction, asking for special healing, your healing light to shine upon them, and asking our ancestors to wrap them in a blanket of healing, of love, of strength and courage. I ask for special blessings upon this council of Belcara, of Tumtumilton, asking for a blanket of protection upon them as they carry on with the workplace before them, and also for a blanket of protection on their families who will be there standing shoulder to shoulder with them, supporting them in this journey of being elected leaders of their communities. For these and other intentions we have in our hearts, we leave with you this evening, all my relations.
Thank you very much, Elder Carleen Thomas. I really appreciate your words tonight, and our community does. And your kind words to our council are inspiring as we move forward. But in particular, thank you for sharing the story. I've heard it before about around the 2010 Olympics and the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish. And I think it is inspiring to us because we can look for divisions, we can look for differences, or we can take that sometimes hard step to say that we're going to move forward and try and find the bridge that builds us, that doesn't divide us. And your comments about COVID-19 are important. I know your nation and other nations face a disproportionate burden because of that, but our thoughts are with you from the village of Belcara. We love the home, your home that we get to share, and people love it here. And I want us as a community to pass on our best and our thoughts for as your community takes care of themselves in COVID-19. And also thank you for your lovely phrase of putting a blanket of protection for us. So thank you very much. And I look forward to, as part of council, to engaging with you again. And thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you. I just want to thank the organizers for arranging this. I do have to cut and run. I've got another board of directors meeting for the Wild Bird Trust, and I told them I'd be there shortly, but I wish you all the best. And I'm sure our council and our community look forward to working with you as well.
Yes.
I accept that. Thanking all of you. Hey, always. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. So if I could start tonight by welcoming everyone and greetings to everyone in the inaugural address. I would like to begin by thanking our special guests who have joined us. Nellie Shin, our Member of Parliament, for her work on behalf in Ottawa. For Rick Glumac, our Member of the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia, for his work in Victoria. For Mayor John McEwen, for his leadership in Anmore and as a trustee on the board of the Sassamat Volunteer Fire Department, our shared department. And to Carrie Palmer Isaac, our school trustee and chair for the Board of Education, School District 43. I'd also like to thank Chief Jay Sharp of the Sasamat Volunteer Fire Department for joining us here tonight also. And a special thank you to Constable Doug Burton, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, for joining with us, and as the Honorable Judge Diana Dory administered the oaths of office for John Snell and myself in a parking lot in a different way because of the pandemic. I also want to recognize and thank Deputy Mayor Lisa Wilder for chairing the meeting, for being there tonight, as she's been there for the community during this time. I would like to thank those who stood here in my shoes before me. I'd like to thank Mayors Verna Barrett, Ted Baxter, Ralph Drew, and Neil Belenky. I know that if I reach out to any one of them, they would do their best to give me understanding, knowledge, and experience and perspective. Their wisdom and encouragement will always be valued, and the cup of coffee in payment will always be a cup of our village's very best coffee. So, to our 3 council members, Lisa Wilder, Carolina Clark, and Bruce Drake, I thank you for your leadership and commitment to our village during difficult circumstances. With an upbeat and optimistic style, together you kept council operating and moving forward. To Deputy Mayor Lisa Wilder, who received special recognition for taking on the role of Deputy Mayor with such determination, with such class, and with such success. Thank you. To our new council colleague, John Snell, I joined council and the villagers in welcoming you, your energy, your talent, and your view that we need to bring back the joy. Welcome, John. I am so pleased to be able to work with our new council. I know they will assist me in my new role as your mayor. I know they are going to accomplish great things for our village, including keeping me from making a 10-minute introduction speech, running a full half hour. So thank you to Lisa Zwarn, our Chief Election Officer, and our village staff, Lorna Dysart, Paula Richardson, Connie Esposito, and Helen Labonte, who ensured a well-run and safe election during the COVID-19 pandemic. I look forward to working with all of Balcarres staff, those already mentioned, and Shay Crutil, Brad Smith, Doug Baker, Paul Whisker, and Stuart Novak. On behalf of Village Council, I want to welcome all Balcarres staff, all of our community members, our friends, and our neighbors. They make our village such a special place. The recent by-election has clearly and importantly demonstrated our togetherness, our unity. As a village, we love to be involved in our local politics. We love to debate and we love to vote. More than 80% of eligible voters demonstrated that unity of purpose in our by-election by voting on January 23rd, 2021. During the by-election, many of you reached out to me and expressed your wishes for our village. You want to be hopeful, you want to be unified and moving forward. You value differences of opinion, vigorous, impassioned discussion, and reaching decisions. You support the idea that we can argue and dispute from varied backgrounds and arrive at goals that are good for all of us. You also said, and very clearly, that you want these passionate arguments, discussions, and debates to be respectful, to center on policy and not on personality. The purpose of debate, when it's done, is not to drive us apart, but rather to stitch us together. So I want to share with my friends, the neighbors and guests, what I want you to expect from this new mayor and this new council. As a first step, council will come together and meet as your new council. We will work together to agree to a new plan. We will discuss priorities, including to commit to working in a collaborative and respectful manner to each other and to our neighboring municipalities. Councilors will have individual portfolios, responsibilities, and support in their work. They will be free to express the view of residents, committees, as well as their own. Some of the committee appointments and responsibilities will be shared with you at the council meeting tonight. We will also look at to continue with the discussions on spending and financial planning to support the ongoing work of our water committee, which includes consideration for water storage capacity for fire suppression, to move forward with an update to the official community plan as permitted by restrictions that applied during the COVID-19 pandemic, to continue the discussions on parking within the village and conduct the public information meeting on this issue, to look for improvements to waterfront access for our community members, to continue with regular infrastructure maintenance, including for roads, to work for improvements to pedestrian safety and access along Bedwell Bay Road, to protect and to steward our green spaces and improve our trail network, to acknowledge and to thank our committee members for their past work and to seek suggestions for future improvement, to foster the joining of new members, Lisa, Carolina, Bruce, and John. I look forward to moving ahead with you on these and other issues currently before council. Our village was built by pioneers looking forward, by working together and working through their differences. Community is not about change for the sake of change, nor about staying the course. Community is about who we are and what we can do together. We are a village surrounded by and contained within forest and sea. This is our legacy, and for those that follow. Those who will follow us on the forest trails and upon the waterways need our help to preserve both. As we look during this pandemic for peace and safe outdoor activity, our access to trails, to the lake, and to the ocean has never been more important. We are fortunate to have these at our back door. We could enrich the outdoor experience by making it easier to access water. We could improve, we could lengthen and link our trails for everyone's uses. We will, through this process, also sustain wildlife corridors. We could provide shore openings for resting and viewing. We could provide roadside paths and trails for catching a bus, for cycling, for dog walking, and for pushing strollers. With a vision of broadly sharing the beauty around us, we could have discussions with our neighboring communities and the park and transit authorities. We could be working to come up with creative solutions to increase access to green space, to designate public parking, and expand public transit options. To see ourselves into the future, we would share some of our traditional opportunities with new voices and new visions from our village. In that regard, I recognize the immense role of open council committee work and town hall meetings to give greater voice to the idea of all villagers. I view these tools as tools for collaboration and renewal and expression of opportunity for everyone. The structure and administration of these assemblies will be reviewed and, if necessary, improved so that everyone can feel that they were heard and that the assemblies were fair. My door will always be open. I want to listen. I want to learn. I want to move forward. I am humbled to have been elected. I am proud to be your mayor. I look forward to getting started tonight. Thank you. So if we could go in particular to my council colleagues to general appointments for deputy mayor appointments for 2021. And you have a recommendation, and I would be looking for a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move the recommendation.
Bruce Drake moving, seconded by,
Second. Yeah.
by Lisa, was it?
Yes, please.
Is that okay or, okay?
I beat her to the unmute.
Okay. Quick counselors, I like that, quicker than me, obviously. So the motion's on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Appointment of the municipal director to the Metro Vancouver Regional District. Looking, your recommendations in front, looking for a mover and a seconder. Carolina, moving, please. Thank you.
Second?
And seconder, Councillor Lisa Wilder. Thank you. So we have it on the floor for discussion. Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, and no opposed. So thank you. The motion carries. The appointment to, oh. Sorry, and that included a two-part, correct? So that had a,
That's correct, your worship.
yes, so I'll just clarify for the gallery that it included the municipal director, and it also included the alternate director, correct? Which is Carolina Clark.
Yes.
Thank you for offering to,
Thank you.
thank you for offering to serve in that. And then the appointment to the TransLink Mayor's Council. The motions in front of you, I'd be looking for a mover, please.
So moved?
Councillor Lisa Wilder, moving.
Second.
Carolina Clark, seconding. It's in front of you. Any discussion? I will call the question with your support then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I note 4 in favor, no against, so it carries the motion. So thank you. And moving to the next one, the appointment of trustees to the Sassamat Volunteer Fire Department. We have a motion, a recommendation, looking for someone to move it.
I'll move it.
Second.
Carolina Clark moving, Councillor Drake seconding. Any discussion?
Not discussion, but I would just like to thank not only Lisa Wilder as well as Bruce Drake, but all of the trustees for the Sassamat Fire Department. I bet it's going to be a busy year, with lots of good discussions coming up, and I'm looking forward to see what the group does. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. So any other discussion, thoughts? We'll call the question. In favor, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and no against, it carries. So the motion carries. And then we have the appointment of the Coquitlam Search and Rescue Counselor Liaison. And there's a recommendation in front of you for Counselor Clark, and I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. A mover, please.
I'll move that one.
John Snell, moving. Thank you.
Second.
Seconder, Counselor Drake. Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, if I may, I would just like to
Yes.
thank you very much for the appointment. The SAR is a group that I've been watching and following close with their work for the past few years, and they came to the table to previous council actually a few months ago and asked for a counselor to be appointed. So I expressed interest at the time for this, so I'm glad to see that I'll be on this too. So thank you, Mayor Ross, for the appointment. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and thank you for your willingness to serve, and also your great skills from your work in your business that you run so well, that many of us dog owners appreciate. So we will look to, thank you for those words, and we'll look to call the question. All in favor, please.
Aye.
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 And the ayes carry. So the motion carries. And then we will move to the appointment of a representative to the Tri-Cities Food Council. It's in front of you with the recommendation that council appoint Councillor Clark as a representative. So we'll look for a mover and a seconder.
So
Councillor
moved.
Lisa Wilder moved,
I'll second.
and John Snell. Thank you for seconding. The motion's on the floor. Looking for any discussion or comments?
I would just, sorry, me again. I would just like to extend my sincere thanks to Polly Cryer, Councillor Polly Cryer from Anmore, that invited Belcarra to participate on this specific committee. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to work with you.
Yes. And what an important time for the work of this committee. So
Yep.
appreciate your work. And any other comments? So we will look to put the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it carries unanimously. Thank you, and congratulations, Councillor Clark, and thank you. And the appointment of a representative to the School District 43 Board of Education Child Care Task Force. And the recommendation is that Councillor Clark be appointed. So we will open up. I place the motion on the floor with a mover,
So moved.
Councillor Lisa
Second.
Wilder, and we'll call Bruce Drake second for seconding. So thank you very, very much to both of you. Any discussion, comments?
I do have a comment just for clarity for the gallery. So this is a committee that Belcarra has been part on since 2019. The committee meets about once every second month and to discuss childcare spaces around Tri-Cities, how to bring more childcare spaces around Tri-Cities. So I've been doing this work since 2019, and I'm looking forward to continue to do the work. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Critically important work, and thank you for carrying it on too. Thank you. So we've, I'll call all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the motion carries. Thank you. So we're on to 5.8. So council committee appointments. And we have a motion in front of you that the appointment of members to the following committees be extended to April 30th, 2021. So I will look for a mover and a seconder to place it on the floor.
I'll move that, your worship. I would also like to add to that. So to make an addition to the motion.
Okay, so you're gonna.
And I'll just describe that. It's the motion that you have in front of you.
Okay,
That the appointment of members to the following committees be extended to April 30th, 2021. And I would like to add, and that each committee be consulted prior to this date to discuss their recommendations to council on their committee's future role.
Yeah, I agree with
I'll second the amendment.
okay, and I'm just gonna write it down so we can have it clear. So Bruce, if.
Would you like me to
and
read
then
it
we'll
again?
go- Yeah, would you mind?
So it's the original motion.
Yeah,
That the appointment of members to the following committees be extended to April 30th, 2021, followed by the committees, and that each committee be consulted prior to this date to discuss their recommendations to council on their committee's future role.
perfect. So you're moving that motion.
As amended, yeah.
The amendment, yeah. Are you
Okay.
moving a motion or an amendment? You're moving an amendment to the main motion, right?
Yeah, so do you want to,
The amendment, I had second the motion, so I'll second the amendment.
okay, so we'll move it on to the floor with Councillor Drake moving it on in the original, Councillor Clark moving it on, seconding, and then an amendment followed up once it's on the floor. Amendment from Bruce Drake, adding the words that he just read.
Yeah.
And are all the councillors clear on that,
Yes.
the wording?
Mhm.
Okay, and so we've got a mover for the amendment and a seconder. So we'll call the question on the amendment first. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for the amendment, Bruce.
Okay, so that the amendment carries. So that now puts us back onto the main motion as amended. So any discussion or questions or thoughts?
I would just like to make a comment. I think this is I thought it was really great, Bruce, that you did that. I think it's very important. Our committee members have done such a fantastic job for the last few years. And I think it's important that they're consulted directly with, with the work that they've done, so that your worship, that you have an opportunity to talk to them and get up to speed with exactly where they are.
Yes.
I think that was really important. Thank you so much, Bruce.
Yeah. Okay, so any other comments, thoughts, questions? So we have the amended motion on the floor. And so I'll, with the support of the group, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
So the amended motion carries and passed. So thank you. And then we have, going on to item 6, the council meeting calendar for 2021. This is an important one because it's putting us all to work. So
I'll move that.
Lisa, was that?
That was Carolina.
Oh, Carolina Clark moving and seconder.
I'll
Yes,
second that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, three-way tie. I'll
Pick
Oh,
Oh,
John.
John.
John Snell.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. So it's on the floor for discussion, and there are 2 key pieces there. In terms
Yeah,
of.
if I might. Yeah, if
Yes,
I might.
go ahead,
Jamie,
Bruce Straight.
You've picked it up. Just the point that with this, we're indicating we do not expect to host a volunteer appreciation event, and that we're not planning a Belcarra Day at this time. Let's hope we have to change those, but I seriously doubt it will happen. So just to be clear, we're dealing with all those items.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Bruce, for highlighting that, just so the community's aware. And any other thoughts? Carolina Clark, please.
If I may, thank you.
You're welcome.
We did cancel prior to election, we did cancel 2 or 3 council meetings. And right now we're in budget season, and we haven't, obviously we were waiting on a full council to be able to start talking about the budget. So I was wondering here if it would be prudent of our part to maybe perhaps add a meeting either in February or March, 1 or 2 meetings, like we're, one in February, 1 in March.
Your worship, we may always have special council meetings at any time.
Okay.
So that's quite feasible to do for sure. And we had talked about having a couple of special budget meetings. Mhm.
Okay, so if we need, we can do that in the future. I understand that. Okay, sounds good to me.
So it sounds like we're good on that. Both ideas. It's just a matter of how we make it occur. And my understanding is that because of what you indicated, Councillor Clark, about some meetings that we missed, we will look to put them back in. And now our council is all together and the 2 new members are sworn in. It will make the ease of communication much easier. So we'll look to February and March additional meeting you were hoping for. And our CAO, Lorna Dysart, that makes sense to you too, right?
That's right.
Okay, good. Okay, so, oh, sorry.
Oh, I just said thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. So we've got that motion on the floor. So I'll look for a mover and a seconder.
Mover and seconder, your worship.
What's that?
We have a mover.
We
and
have it. So
seconder.
I'll call the
Yeah, so
question.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it carries. Thank you. So the next one is, we have a motion for adjournment, I believe, correct?
That will be your
so-
shortest meeting, Jamie.
But before we move this, I would just like, to welcome Mayor Ross and Councillor John Snell. I'm really happy to have you guys being part of the team. Thank you so much for putting your name forward. I would also like to thank Dr. Colin Cole for running on the election. So I wish him all the best and thank you. I know it's a hard job, it's a thankless job, but it can be very fun too. So thank you for putting your names forward and looking forward to work with this new team.
Here.
So you're welcome. Thank you. Good words, Carolina, and thank you for also highlighting Dr. Combs' contribution to our democratic process. Thank
I'd
you.
like to make just a quick
Yes.
comment as well before we go out, and I echo Carolina's, Councillor Clark's words. And it was just my privilege to work with you guys and serve as your deputy mayor for these few months. And thank you guys for putting up with me. Anyways, and I'm looking forward to our new team, and I just think it's going to be fantastic. And for the support that I received from everybody during the time has just been overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming. So thank you all.
Well, Lisa, I would like to thank you too for stepping up to the plate and taking the mayor position. Thank you very much. I know it was a lot to take and I think you did a great job. So thank you. And thank you, Councillor Drake, as well.
You know, I could have done it without staff. They were just like behind me, just enveloping me the whole time.
Yeah, thank you.
If I might, Jamie.
Sure, Councillor Drake. Yes, and thank
Yeah,
you, Councillor
just
Wilder.
reiterate the points that are made there. There's nothing easy about the tasks that are taken on, in particular the position you've now occupied and that Lisa stepped into under difficult circumstances. And so I just want to say I very much appreciate the willingness of both of you to put that time in, and to add further to your comment that putting one's name forward, standing, being prepared to run and face voters is no easy task, and greatly appreciate your willingness to do it, Dr. Colm Cole's willingness to do it, and John's willingness to do it, because it's the only way we end up with a functioning and successful municipality. So thank you very much. And again, Lisa, thank you for your work.
You're welcome. It was my privilege, it really was.
Yeah, and I'm not a competitor, but I would like to say this, that the piece about the 80% of our community coming forward in a
Yeah.
by-election and voting is literally unheard of, even in a regular election, but in a by-election where communities struggle with small numbers and engagement, we should be incredibly proud as a community.
It was 83%.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be safe that I wasn't embellishing, but I was really proud of our community.
I was proud too.
And I think I have a note in the Barnacle going forward, but I think it goes without saying that if people won't put their name forward to provide for choices, to provide for discussion, that communities don't actually get to come in and engage, and high turnout rates are usually equated with good government. So I do want to thank everybody in the village that participated, and in particular, Colm Cole, who's my neighbor, for putting his name forward, and for everybody engaging in such a good way. So thank you.
That's great. So probably,
So I think somewhere in there, everybody's had a chance to make a comment. Okay, so I think we have a motion for adjournment, and I'm going to look to our trustee, chief administrative officer. We've got a mover and seconder for that.
No, we don't, your worship.
Okay,
oh, I thought I moved that at the beginning of the discussion. Apologize. I knew, so I still move that?
so we'll go with Councillor Lisa Wilder moving, and from the remaining three.
I'll second that.
Okay, all right, so it's on the floor. Any other final comments? So I'll just make one thank you for everybody joining us tonight, and look forward to working with the community. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night. We're
Thank
adjourned.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our special guests.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Thank you, everyone, for
Good night.
coming out tonight.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Night.
Good night, all.